Oh, yeah. I think we're going. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, man?
Welcome back, everyone, to Lost in the Dark podcast. We are here again this week. Oh, my camera just flipped. Hopefully, we've been on.
Yeah, you're good.
Welcome back to the virtual crypt. We're back here again. Still doing the fucking quarantinies, but hey, we got some things to talk about tonight. So fucking, first of all, like we said, the last episode we talked all about fucking took a deep dive into Verminous because you finally had a chance to sit with it for a few weeks and stuff like that. But we didn't get to talk about, apparently there were 2 bonus tracks. We just heard them for the first time. One of them is a cover of a Megadeth song called Go to Hell, which sounded pretty cool. Like it actually sounded Megadeth-y, which was cool.
Yeah.
And then the other fucking track is Their Thwarted Patience. And it's like only 1minute and 16 seconds long, but I did like the drums in it a lot. Especially at the beginning, it kind of felt, I don't know, like you're I don't know. It had like a really frantic feeling to it that I thought was pretty cool. But it's only 1 minute long.
Yeah.
Minute long song.
I don't know. I mean, you said it was cool. It kind of sounded like, kind of talked about it. It sounded like something that could have been off like a previous record. It was just like an idea that was just kind of, I mean, I don't know. Like the only thing I've heard about this one is just that it's like on the European bonus track, and I feel like their last 2 records have had bonus tracks, but they've been like either like European released or like way far after, like demo tracks and stuff. So
yeah, kind of weird. I don't know. I would think that if you're gonna have a bonus track, it'd be longer than 1 minute long, which is kind of odd to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, all in all, pretty good and definitely worth checking out. But yeah, the rest of the album is just fucking incredible, unbelievable, outstanding. So I fucking texted you at like 5 or 6 this morning with an alert. You remember my alert?
Yeah. It was about which
so
I saw it and I was like, am
I dreaming?
Like, yeah.
What is he saying right now? What the fuck is he saying? Well, I'm gonna tell you what I was saying. So basically,
the only reason I know you weren't kidding was because it was in all caps and you sent me multiple, and that's usually how I know. Like, this isn't a test. Like,
not joking.
Yeah.
Like, all right. So Aaron and we're really big fans of American Horror Story. We think, especially the first 2 seasons were, in my opinion, I think I've said this before, but in my opinion, the second season of American Horror Story is one of the best pieces of horror content that has been made in a long time. Like it absolutely blew me away. The Asylum. Since then, it's had some pretty big swing and misses. It's had a couple like decent seasons throughout, but most of them, Aaron and I kind of will watch them and be like, "What the fuck is going on here? Like, what are we doing?"
They'd have like, it almost seemed like filler seasons of like filler episodes of like a loose idea that was like, it'd be kind of cool, but they never like it, and they always bring in like extra added characters that don't really like. There's so many of them that like by halfway through the season you're like, where is this going? And then it just kind of like it just falls off the face a lot of times. So it's
really like. Oh yeah, that's what it is exactly. Is a lot of times it's kind of just feels like where is this going, and then it doesn't. And that's the other thing is it kind of just goes in the same direction. It doesn't really move or have any twists or turns or anything. In some of them, you know what I mean. In some of them,
yeah.
So as a result, like let's bring this up real quick. The last one that I remember watching top to bottom was Apocalypse. And, it brought back some of the witches from Coven, which was another decent season.
Mm-hmm.
But it just really kind of fell flat for me. Oh yeah, so it was the last one, and I still. Oh holy shit! So I've seen all of them top to bottom except Cult. I never finished that one because I was like, I don't know about this.
I never. Well, I guess I missed out on a few of them because the last one that I fully watched all the way through was Motel. I watched.
I kind of liked. There was one big thing in that season that really pissed me off, but I did kind of like that season a bit more so than Freak Show, at least, and Roanoke. I really didn't like Roanoke.
Yeah, those, like the last three, I didn't watch Cult. I didn't watch Apocalypse, and Roanoke was it. I don't know. It just like halfway. I don't know. Like there's, I mean, each episode or each season has like 12 episodes or 10 or 12.
Yeah.
And like after the first couple, I was like, I don't know. Like this is just it was one of the first ones. It was one of the first ones that had like a found footage sort of like interview-esque like.
Yeah, it did.
You know, kind of feel to it, which is weird. But
normally I like that. Normally I like that stuff.
Yeah.
But this one was just, I don't know, it was just strangely done. Like I don't know. It just didn't that take on it didn't really connect with me. But yeah, I mean, Murder House and Asylum are the best for me. Yeah. Coven is pretty good. I did not care too much for Freak Show. Hotel's all right. Didn't care for Roanoke. Didn't care for Cult. Didn't really care too much for Apocalypse, to be honest. So I kind of, as a result, fell off pretty. I mean, shit, Apocalypse, the last episode aired in November of 2018, so it's been a long time.
Yeah.
And
well, and the thing that bummed me out about it was that by the time they got to Roanoke, it was like they for one reason or another, like the original cast, a lot of the original cast just wasn't in it and wasn't there anymore. And I feel like that, not to say that the actors that are in it are bad by any means, but it was like we started off the initial like 2 or 3 seasons with the same, and they're like some of the best. I think like seriously underrated actors for the horror genre. Like there's some serious, especially Asylum, and I thought even Hotel had a few like moments in it where it was like wow, like that was especially Evan Peters.
Yep.
Motel really.
Yep. I loved his character in that.
Yeah, I don't remember what the name of it was, but like it was like midway through the season, and they just like showed his whole character story, and it was like, yes, like this is awesome.
He was basically like, wasn't his character based on H.H. Holmes or something, kind of?
Yeah, it seems
a little bit like the murder house. Like he built the murder house, not the murder house from the first season, but a murder castle thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very good. Yeah, there were aspects to that were really good. Now, so yeah, as a result, it's been not on the radar, really. I saw that they were doing this 1984 season, and I was like, I saw a lot of people saying, oh, they're just copying like Stranger Things and stuff, and I was like, are they? I don't know. And so I never watched it until a few nights ago. My roommate and I were so bored that we just fucking let's try an episode. I mean, it's American Horror Story. We should watch at least some of it.
So like the thing that, not to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Just kind of go with what you were talking about is like with that show, like even if I don't like parts of it or like episodes of it, like there's still things in each season that I enjoy and that I actually like even like Freak Show wasn't my favorite season, but it definitely had some moments in it where I was like, this is some of the best I've seen them do. And that, or like, parts where it was like, oh, that kind of reminds me of like the whole Murder House thing, or that reminds me of something that was in season 2 or whatever. So it had little callbacks and stuff to it, but
yeah. So, and that's one thing. That's one thing I will say. I don't know how many. I think we watched up to episode 4 so far, and so far, now that you mention it, I cannot think of a single callback to a previous season yet, which is kind of interesting because they've been doing that a lot in a lot of the other seasons. But the most recent episode I watched, there was like a pretty big change of events, so it might be coming. But dude, okay, so at least the first. I don't know, 4 or 5 episodes, however many in I am. Like we watched the first episode and we were like, okay, all right, well, all right, let's watch the next one. And then we watched the next one, and it was even like better. Like I've never seen them do so many twists in every single episode. Like every single episode, something fucking crazy is getting flipped on its head, and it might even be more than one thing. And it's fucking. If you want, you can't say they copied Stranger Things. If they did, if you're the only way you can say that is if your definition of copying is just being set in the same time period, because that's all it has in relation at all. Like it's basically American Horror Story kind of does, Camp Crystal Lake and Jason, but there's really crazy fucking twists that make it different. And like Richard Ramirez is in it, and
oh shit,
yeah, like it's pretty fucking good. I'm really enjoying it so far. Yeah, you gotta watch it. There's some of the fucking kills, dude, are
well, I think because I remember when I first heard like the setup for it and like the like what the set like time period of it was, and that was like, I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty much exactly what I thought, because the third season of Stranger Things. Sorry, my cat keeps coming in.
No worries.
The third season of American Horror Story just they just put it out and everything, and then all of a sudden, like, we hear like, oh, they're doing like a 80s thing too, and it's like everybody was kind of doing that.
Oh,
stuff.
The third season of Stranger Things, you mean?
Yeah. And so initially I was like, well, I watched that and stuff, and I was like, I mean, there's a bunch of other shows that have done the 80s thing before, and honestly, like, so that's some of the movies that came out during that time where, it was big, like, slasher era.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. That was kind of the big slasher era for sure. That, and even just a little bit before it too. But yeah. So far, it's fucking got me. Like, I'm like, this is a solid season so far. I don't know where it's, like I said, big events happened in the last episode to where now so far pretty much the whole show is taking place at the camp, except for like maybe the first few minutes of the first episode when they're going there.
Yeah.
But it now it looks like we're leaving the camp for the first time, and so who the fuck knows what's coming now, but
yeah,
it's really, I don't want to ruin anything for you at all, so I won't fucking spoil the shit out of it until you've seen it. But
all right.
It's only like 9 episodes, so it's a pretty quick one. But yeah, dude, you need to fucking see this one. Like, they're fucking kind of back. Like,
that's like and I remember because it's an annual thing. Like they at least it was until this last season, like you said, and so to have it be like a return to form, hopefully, kind of like the way you're talking about it, is like exciting to me, because I've been waiting for them to do. Just like I don't know, I wasn't really too into the whole thing about the witches, the coven thing. Like, it was cool, but it was kind of done in like a weird, like, kind of like safe way. Like, none of that really said like horror, like scary to me. It was all just like, kind of watered down versions of witches and stuff. And
they come back. 3 of the witches come back in Apocalypse too.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. And that part is kind of neat. But yeah.
I don't know. So yeah, I've just kind of been waiting for that, like, to see something in that show to be like, kind of rope me back in and be like, watch this shit. Like, it's gonna get crazy.
It has arrived. Yeah.
Honestly, that was
fucking crazy.
Like, I think that was well. Let me check myself because I don't want to say the wrong thing. What I was gonna say was that like my first memories of like horror was, the let's see, there was Friday the 13th, The New Blood was like one of the first like slasher horror movies I remember seeing. And it just like for some reason like that era of like kind of like campy sort of like half serious, half like just like let's just be ridiculous and just violent and like just get creative with it and stuff. And that was kind of like for a while that was that kind of set me on down like the rabbit hole of the Halloween movies and Nightmare on Elm Street and just like the crazy like just slasher like campy slasher movies and stuff. And so I guess I would be kind of into that whole style of like this season.
Yeah. Yeah, I really think you would, especially you. And you really like that Hellraiser series too, which they're even talking about bringing that back and making new ones of those.
Yeah, they've been talking about that for a little while, but every time they do, it's like it's not as good as you want it to be, and it's mostly because they keep like. I'm sorry, but there's no Pinhead without Doug Bradley. Like he's the guy.
I could see that argument, yeah.
And every time they've tried to replace him or do something different with somebody, it's always been like it's just not there. Like it's not, so
just not the same.
Yeah. So I enjoy the fact that they are trying to reboot that and trying to like, do something different with it, but at the same time, like Doug Bradley isn't in it, then there's, I don't know how good it's gonna be.
Real.
So, but yeah, let's see. Yeah, 1988. So that was the first. So that was like kind of at like the. Oh wow, they got some pretty shitty reviews. I didn't realize that. I don't know. Fuck it, I liked it. But yeah, it was. I don't know. Like it was kind of when I got into that sort of style, and to kind of like the fact that somebody's actually doing it and kind of trying to revise it a little bit, and with especially with Stranger Things being such a big phenomenon basically when it came out, and kind of giving that sort of like image sort of new life or whatever, and like the fact that they've done it like a different era or a different like trend or whatever, like each season so far has been cool.
Yeah, that's very true.
So
and well done.
That makes me excited that American Horror Stories actually might possibly be decent again.
Check it out, man. I'm telling you. Might take a hard, crazy turn and fuck everything up, but so far so good. Also,
they haven't done before,
right?
So,
would you have a little bit of metal news to talk about? Wait. Holy shit, we haven't even talked about the fucking new Devil Driver single on here yet.
Oh shit, that's right.
That just came out. I'm gonna pull it up. What'd you think of it?
Be honest, it kind of shook me a little bit because it in like the best way possible though. And I don't necessarily know if it was because of the current state of things, like the current, just how everything is and stuff, and just how much it like, how much they were able to like, kind of put that in a sense where it was like, like reflecting what was happening, but it was in a way that was very like, kind of saying it without saying it in a way. And like I honestly think I like the video more than the song, which is a weird thing to say. Not to say that the song is bad by any sense, because I'm really excited about this one. Like it sounds like there's some real, fire on this one. Yes. Like it sounds like they definitely took the time to figure out, with the new members and with the new, with the new style and everything, because they had, like, in a sense, they did kind of go through a style change a little bit with the couple new members here and there. Like there was a year. I mean, we talked about the last record on the last episode, I think. And so, yeah, I think like, lyrically, I think it sounds like, what's the word? Like there's like an anguish to it. You know what I mean? Like there's just this like, you know, this like uneasy kind of like overreaching kind of feeling to it, and parts of it kind of, especially the intro, reminded me of End of the Line, which
Oh yeah, a little bit
like,
actually.
yes, like I like they're in terms of like bands that do like big intros and stuff that just like keep going and then they just like, you know, it just explodes into like the first verse of it and stuff. Like they have some of the best, and they do it really well. And to hear them kind of go back to that and kind of start off with just this sweeping thing that comes in and like with the rest of the song was, it's like, yes, like that's the stuff that like sends chills up your spine, you know, like that's like hair raising kind of stuff. So
it was released on May 21st. It's called Keep Away From Me.
Mhm.
It's off of the upcoming part 1 of the double album Dealing with Demons, and the part 1 will be released on October 9th off Napalm Records. You can see the cover art, which I think could be one of my favorite covers they've ever had. I think it's fucking dope.
Oh yeah.
And they released the track listing and everything. Sadly, no guests except for Des Ferrara's son.
Yeah. I don't know if you've heard him, like, because I think he's got videos on YouTube and stuff.
He does, yeah.
He's like, that actually makes me pretty excited. Like
he's
the
not
fact
bad.
Yeah, and like I don't know. I think it's one of the coolest things ever when you see like, you know, this. I mean, Devil's Driver's been around for a long time, and like you've seen kind of like the, you know, like the come up with it and stuff, and how much it's changed. And like it's cool that on this album, on like their first double album, the first one in like 2 years, that like his, you know, he's brought in like his son to it and stuff. Like it's, I don't know, I think it's a cool touch. I'm pretty excited to hear it.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Well, I am very excited to hear the album. The track is fucking insane. So
yeah,
it
slaps.
Really good. It slaps. It,
as kids say.
The drumming is outstanding. Like,
yeah.
It's a really solid track, and it made me very, very excited to hear the rest of the album, and excited just that it even got announced, because they've been telling us they're working on a double album since before they released the Country Outlaws album. So it's been like a long fucking time. So
yeah. I was thinking it was going to be before that, or even like just shortly after, I thought it
was gonna be right after the cover album.
Yeah, like I saw that as kind of like, and it's kind of shitty to say because it kind of I don't mean to like take away from it or whatever, but like I was almost thinking of it as like, oh, let's put this out as like a palate cleanser, like a you know what I mean? Like, not like I said, not to discredit that record because it's awesome. But I kind of thought that like it would be like one right after the other, and it would be like, oh, we got the covers album, and then we'll tour that for a little bit, and then we got, you know, like right after that immediately it's going to be. But they really took their time with it, and you know, it's cool to see. It's cool to see so much just new stuff from them, and the fact that like, well, and I wonder if the doing the double record was like an excuse to just write as much as possible so that for the next however long they would just have, you know, they just, because I imagine we'll probably, I mean, knock on wood, like all things considered, like I would imagine, you know, just like relentless touring that they always do. This, and I hope that with all this, because like, and it's not to say anything bad about like the times that we've seen them live and like the set list or whatever, but like, you know, like it would really be cool to see them like put in some like deep cuts or some like, you know, some songs that they don't, like, so either some new songs or like a few like the cover songs. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to hear Sail. I don't want to hear the cover of Sail.
I don't want to hear that live ever again.
Yeah, it was great. It was cool. It's a cool cover, but
I've seen it like 15 times.
Yeah, I'm over it. Like,
and they've got so many great covers in their catalog too that I've never seen live. It's like, come on, like, I mean, fucking wasted years.
That's like we talk about that all the time. Yeah. Like, why don't they? You know?
I don't. I never understood that one. They really played the shit out of that Sales song though, man. Holy
Yeah.
fuck.
And
But
I don't really feel like it. I mean, I could be wrong. Because I don't know the inside access to what's going on, but I don't know so much if playing that song or if, like, recording it or, like, whatever, like, necessarily, like, helped their, like, popularity, I guess.
I think it did. I
You
think
so?
yeah, I think that song was huge, and I think a lot of people who may have never heard Devil Driver before heard it. Kind of same deal as like Five Fingers Bad Company.
That's true.
Like I think it's one of those. It's almost like a bridge song. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I will say, like, I enjoyed it when I first heard it, like, first couple times, but I don't really want to see it at a show again.
Because we have so many times. That's why.
Yeah.
I mean, we just have.
Yeah.
It's we're ready for new.
Yeah.
That's another kind of surprising thing. Usually on there, and maybe it's because they did the whole cover album, but usually they'll have at least one cover song on a normal release.
Yeah.
And there's not one on this one. But like you said, maybe they just wrote so fucking much music. Why would we put a cover? But then again, like some of their other albums, like what? I don't remember how many tracks it said this was.
It was 10.
Yeah, some of their other albums are way longer and have,
Mm.
Covers on the end of them as a bonus track and stuff like that,
Yeah. That's one of the things that I always love about Devil Driver is that whenever they put something out, they just, like, it almost seems like they're just not, like, hanging on to anything. Like, they just kind of, like, it's like, oh, well, we got this whole album and then we'll release like a special edition with some like B-sides and stuff on it, and those B-sides are usually my favorites. Like, not to say it, I mean, I think back on God, fuck, I'm blanking. Either Beast or Winter Kills, I think.
What song?
I'd have to look at a track list. Hang on. It's been a while since I've thought about either of these. I really need to go back and just listen to them nonstop.
Those two are killer albums. Winter Kills is amazing. Beast is fucking insane.
Yeah.
I love Pray for Villains too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, like, seriously underrated concept album.
Oh yeah, dude.
That nobody ever talks about, and maybe Pray for Villains was the one I was thinking of. Yeah, because Bitter Pill, Teach Me to Whisper, I See Belief, Self-Affliction, Dust Be the Destiny, Damning the Heaven, Wasted Years. Like, that's on the special edition of it.
Yeah, that's the one I have.
Yeah, Beast had let's see. Black Soul Choir, which
forgot about that one.
Yeah, dude. To be honest, I didn't know that was a cover when I first heard it.
Neither did I.
And then I looked at the original and I was like, what?
Yeah.
What is going on?
Like, how do they even think to do that to that? Like, it's just a fucking ruthless fucking gallop. Like, I love that song. Forgot about that one. Holy shit.
Yeah, man.
That sounds so evil on it.
Yeah. Crowns of Creation, Lend Myself to the Night, Lost, Fortune Favors the Brave, and the live version of Grin Fucked. Which I forgot was on that as well.
God damn it, there's some good ones.
And Winter Kills, did that have its own special edition or not?
I don't know. Offhand, to be honest.
I thought it did because I remember a bunch of it. Like, let me see.
I kind of thought it did too.
Oath of the Abyss. Fucking ruthless. Yeah, man.
Yes. God damn it.
Gutted. Tombstones. Yeah, dude. Shudder. Back Down to the Grave. Fucking hell. I gotta listen to this album again.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. Get me more excited for the next one.
Oh, yeah, Shudder and Back Down to the Grave were the bonus tracks off that one.
Okay. Which album? What?
Well, I was gonna say because I noticed that Outlaws Till the End had a volume 1 as well. So that,
yes.
Yeah. So
there were rumors that there was going to be a volume 2 with even more fucking guests and shit, which is another reason why I'm surprised they didn't have guests on this, because they had a whole bunch on the Outlaws Till the End album.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they got it out of their system on that and didn't want to do it on the regular one, I guess.
Well, to me, like I don't really know where I stand with guest vocals or like entire like just every song having guest vocals on it.
Oh, it doesn't need to be every song, but as long as it's 2 or 3 would be cool. Like,
yeah,
even Lamb of God's doing it now, like, which is crazy.
Yeah,
because they're they're massive. So about as big as it gets at the moment, unless you're Metallica or something Guns.
Yeah.
But in any case, I don't know. I was very excited about this announcement.
Cheers, by the way.
Cheers.
I know we're pretty far into this, but right.
Indeed.
And I guess going back to the video on it, the thing that like kind of stopped me was like, I mean, not only is it like images and like things that are happening currently, but it was the first time that because there at one point in the video that, I mean, it's kind of like all back because like the video is like a lyric video kind of, but it's done in a way where like there's certain things like images and stuff like kind of throughout and everything. And one of the things that caught me like was there's a shot of downtown Lansing in it. Like I recognize like some of the buildings, some of like but it was in a way that was, I mean, obviously, I mean, state's been in the news quite a bit because of all this, and like I was like it, and that I think when I saw that and when I really started to kind of think about it, and then with the song and stuff, like it kind of got to me a little bit, and I was like, this. I didn't really know kind of how to respond to it because like I was excited that like I mean you always want your state and like where you're from to be represented in a way that's like like positive. Yeah. Like there's a certain, and especially from Michigan. I mean, we've talked about it all the time. Like there's a certain level of pride that comes with coming from Michigan, and you'll see it no matter where you're at up here.
Yeah. Absolutely.
To kind of see that, and I mean, I won't get too far into the whole, I mean, everybody knows what's happening. And so to kind of see that, it was, I was like, damn, like that's really cool. But also it's like, like,
fuck.
Yeah. Like, cause forever, like as long as this song is out, as long as this video is going around, like that is going to be the image that's in there and stuff. And it's a weird, like timepiece,
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point, actually.
So I don't know, like I was like, and I almost had to like rewind it and like stop it. And I was like, yeah, I've seen that building. Like I've seen all of that. I've seen, like that's, you used to go to school down there. I used to, I drive past that all the time. And it's unfortunate that it took some, well, whatever. It took all this crazy stuff to kind of, get images of downtown in pop culture and in videos and stuff. So
yeah, that's true.
But that's another conversation, I guess. So I don't know. Like I really, and like it wasn't just Michigan. It wasn't just Lansing. Or anything. Like it was shots of anything, and I feel like there's a lot of that sort of like reflective stuff happening especially in heavier music right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because just after all this happened, you saw, like Fit for an Autopsy put out something new. Mm-hmm. It was a new song. Acacia Strain's been putting out new stuff. That's all been kind of in the vein of like, like not very happy sounding shit.
Yeah.
And so I like it's kind of cool that throughout all of this and kind of in the midst of all of it, like there's this sound and there's this style that's happening that's going on for, you know, and that's really kind of been a voice for things. And honestly, like when I first heard the song, it kind of, like I said, like I keep saying, it kind of shook me, but like, you know, like you know when you're watching something and like you just kind of get that like burning in your throat a little bit, and it kind of like you can kind of just like feel it.
Yeah.
Like it kind of like, you know, like it's not really like the greatest feeling. It's kind of like this, like, you know, like anxious kind of feeling, I guess. That was my initial response to it. But like, as soon as I was kind of like going through it, like listening to it or whatever, I was like, dude, this is, you know, if the rest of the record is like this, and if it's, I mean, you know, given the like the title of it and stuff, I imagine it's probably going to be pretty, you know, introspective. And because, I mean, you know, set aside everything else that's happened, like, you know, with all the news with Dez, you know, his wife and stuff, with all the cancer stuff.
Yep.
Like, I'm sure this one is going to be pretty dark and pretty, like, you know, really, like, you know, something that you can feel. And I think that as long as all of this is going on, like, as long as we have kind of stuff that's coming out like this, you know, it's just gonna, you know, fuel the fire. It's gonna, you know, kind of motivate. And so I don't know. It's kind of my long-winded way of saying I loved it. So
fuck yeah, dude.
I was excited about it.
Yeah, it really surprised me. I mean, of course, I was expecting to like it, but I was like, whoa, this is fucking bigger than I thought it was gonna be. Like, it's really good. And speaking of fucking singles that you're talking, like bands coming out with new stuff, it got announced today that Carnifex is coming out with a new single on Friday called Cursed.
Fuck yeah.
So that'll be awesome. And is apparently entirely written in this quarantine situation in the past 7 weeks, since they had to cancel the tour that we were supposed to be at.
Rip. Yeah.
Tell you what, man. But so that's exciting. That's another really awesome thing to look forward to. Coming out 5/29. The song is called Cursed, I believe. They announced that today on social media.
I have been jamming the fuck out of World War X lately.
Oh.
And that Bury Me in Blasphemy EP, like the whole thing. Even the weird 9 Inch Nails cover song that's on it. It's like, this is kind of sick.
Yeah. And then we also saw an article today that Parkway Drive is gonna start writing some new music here soon. So holy shit.
Really
like,
excited about
everybody's oh my god, yeah, me too. Everybody is fucking pumping some shit out though right now, and that's kind of fucking awesome. Lots to, like, you know, look forward to in a big bad way. And some stuff that, you know, I'm sure hasn't even been announced yet that's still coming.
Yeah. Well, that's something that excites me, is that, you know, we're kind of at the point where I hope, I mean, it's my hope that things are kind of, you know, evening up, and you know, I feel like we've had a lot of time, and a lot of weeks have passed, and, you know, months even. You know, bands have had a lot of time to either write or to just like put something new out or whatever, whether it be like new videos and stuff. And like, I feel like we're kind of reaching the point where we're going to probably see a little bit more of that as time kind of goes on. I guess like my thoughts on it are, I hope that, I mean, because no matter where you go, no matter like what you're looking at right now, you definitely see the effects of it, and it's something that you can't ignore. I'm not going to say what it is because it's pretty implied at this point. But I just hope that it's, and something that I've been kind of struggling with as far as like being creative and like writing and stuff, is like I don't want it to be like something that's creatively written just to like just to kind of like and I don't even know if like cash in is the right word to say, because it's not, because I mean, you know, there's a lot involved with that, but just to like, you know, just to write about something current that's happening, just to write about how miserable it is, you know. And like I feel like there's a kind of a fine, and then it's the same thing with, you know, with bands that have been selling, like, you know, like the face masks and stuff. Like
Yeah.
I don't necessarily have a problem with it. Like and honestly, like I think some of the bands that are doing it are like I've even thought about buying one, but at the same time,
Well,
like,
and a lot of them that are doing it too, the money goes to charity and stuff.
and that's, yeah, like that's the big difference is like I don't want it to be like let's just do this because it's what's happening right now. Like it's cool to see that, you know, that especially heavier bands are doing a lot of stuff to, like, I mean, you know, because we're as just as much affected as anybody else. You know, whether it be, I mean, just musicians as a whole are affected by it. And to kind of see, it's kind of inspiring to see, you know, bands that are doing this kind of writing, that are doing this kind of like style, because it's not directly, you know, like shit sucks kind of a thing. You know, it's very like thought out, and it's not, you know, it's not done in a way that's very like like I don't even want to use the term selloutish, but like, because there's not really a way to do it. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just to kind of like cash in on
Just
it,
to make money. Yeah.
Yeah, like low hanging fruit sort of.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know, like, I'm just, I guess, to kind of come full circle with it, like I'm just kind of glad that there's this mindset of like, you know, we can be environmentally, you know, thoughtful about this, and we could do, you know, we can write about things without directly saying what's happening. So it's,
Yeah.
it's cool, and I'm pretty excited to kind of see more of it, and to kind of just have something aggressive to listen to, because that's been a lot of what I've been drawn to lately. So
Yeah. Yeah, me too. No question. Big time. So yeah, fucking. It was so yeah. It was crazy that. So we recorded the last 2 episodes on the same night.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So on that second, on the episode 2, the one before Verminous,
I'm listening.
It's go ahead. Yeah, it was just crazy to me that we talked about fucking the new, how you were excited about that new Tony Hawk game coming out, and then like the next fucking day he's on Rogan. Are you there? Oh, there you are. Yeah, wasn't that fucking?
Sorry. I was
blowing
my nose and shit. It was kind of gross. But yeah, I thought that was crazy too. Like we were just talking about it, and it was like, oh, yeah. he's on. Like, it's like, oh, cool, all right.
And then he tells his story, and like so much of it I did not know at all. I had no idea how young he was when he, you know, started, and like all the. I also couldn't believe how many correlations I could draw from him and him being a skater to musicians and being in metal. You know what I mean? It was like he pretty much had to invent the style, pretty much had to fucking, you know, like he kind of had to deal with a lot of the things that metalheads had to deal with as the scene evolved.
Yeah.
Into what it is now.
Oh, dude, like skateboarding is as DIY of a sport as it gets.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And like I'm gonna try to find the name of this documentary that I was watching. Because
Something Brigade.
Yeah, it goes even further into that idea. Talking about how like I won't say too much about it, just because I seriously recommend it.
The Bones Brigade.
Yeah, and that's, anybody who knows anything about that, like that's like where skateboarding started, really. Like that group of guys. But like there was this, you know, I mean, at this point, like Tony Hawk is a household name. Like anybody anywhere knows who that is.
Oh yeah. He's the Michael Jordan of skateboarding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I remember texting you about it, and I was like, dude, like the reason that I got into skateboarding and wanted to skateboard was the same reason that some kids, like when they watch Michael Jordan, they want to play basketball.
Oh yeah.
Like that's the kind of impact
Yeah.
it had on me. But in the documentary, they talk to, like, I don't know, all of them and stuff, and kind of like it's a really cool, like, you know, kind of like underdog story in a sense, because it goes into talking about like all of the major skaters right now, and like, you know, it talks to like Tony Hawk and Steve Caballero, who was like one of the first, like, you know, guys to actually do the, you know, like the street skating stuff and all of the, you know, so like he was a big impact on it. But there was this part where they were talking about Tony Hawk, and there was this part where he was like, I was so like gangly, and I was so like, you know, I didn't really fit in with anybody else. I didn't really look like anybody else or whatever. And, you know, he's like, I didn't really like grow into what I was doing and stuff. And like, he was like, kids used to make fun of me because I would try to like take what they were doing and like do it to a degree where I could, you know, I could accomplish the same thing, but in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And like, he's like, I like, you know, there were specific things about it, like, you know, how he would do like his airs and stuff, and how he would kind of like just his whole like style of skating and stuff, and how he would just like how he would be like made fun of for it and stuff. And then like all these years later, like
they said he was cheating.
Yeah, because he would like, he's like, I couldn't really, you know, it was kind of the Michael Jordan thing. Like he just like, he found a way to do what he was capable of doing a different way than everybody else. And it was weird at first, like nobody got it. And there was this somebody specific through that documentary that I really like, and I was watching a couple of, like, he's done like TED Talks and stuff. His name is Rodney Mullen, and he's dude invented like every trick. He's the reason that ollies are ollies. Like he's the, you know, just any of it. And like, you know, there was a point in it where they were talking about competitions, and he was talking about how, you know, he would show up and he would be the only kid that was like full decked out in like pads, and like, you know, he was like, everybody was like, he was just this like goofy looking kid, and then like he would show up to contests and just win every single one because what he was, and like it was the first time anybody had seen like street skating as it is, like, or like freestyle skating, which is his own style in itself. And it was crazy to see, like, he was like, yeah, like I would show up and I would do these contests and everybody would just stop and just like, you know, it's like, and now, you know, you look back at it and like, he's the reason that there are all these tricks, and they're all like, you know, basically like the Bones Brigade and the group that was responsible for it are the reason that we have, you know, knowledge of all these tricks, and we have, you know, just the prior knowledge of it, and the reason that it's all kind of being pushed forward now. So
holy shit.
Yeah, it's like I said, it kind of falls off towards the end of it, whether that's just because, you know, like there was like, I mean, because to a degree, like skateboarding has grown so much, but it's also like kind of stayed the same. And he kind of touched on that on the Rogan episode, especially with like the gear and stuff, like all the boards and like all the like the design of it and everything. Which is
how it's like never really changed. Yeah, that was cool.
Because I never thought about it as
neither did I.
Because like you know, as far as I've known, like, I mean, everybody knows what a skateboard looks like.
Yeah,
like that's like the main, you know, like that's the main, like, just it's been that way forever basically. To try to change it to do something different is like, you know, it's still serving its purpose, like it's still, which is, you know, so like there's always been that overlap I've seen, and that's kind of why I was, you know, before the music, before drums, before anything like that, like I remember when I was little, like I was, you know, it was, you know, my first exposure to it was, you know, X Games and watching, like, I remember where I was at, what I was doing when Tony Hawk landed the 900 at the X Games in '99.
Damn.
I watched that and I was like, dude, this is sick. Like, this
holy
is
shit.
Yeah, like, so to, you know, and but kind of what you were talking about with the, you know, with the overlap between the metal and the, you know, like with the extreme sports and with skateboarding, like it's you know, it's that same mentality of like, you know, it's the outsiders. It's the, and I was thinking about this earlier because I was watching another one. You know, it's that outsider mentality. It's that like, you know, DIY sort of, you know, response to things and kind of figuring out just yourself in this sport and in this, you know, kind of what you're doing and stuff, and kind of trying to change it, and, you know, not being afraid to do something different just because it's weird, or just, you know, like metal's the same way, you know, music, heavy music, it's all the same way. Like it's all, you know, like, you know, you can't be like, you know, everybody has their own style, their own like sound, you know, and it's all done in a similar way, but it's what you kind of put into it that makes it, you know, personal, that makes it, you know, kind of what it is, and kind of evolves things. And like you can take such a simple idea and turn it into like, you know, something that is worldwide and that's acclaimed, and that's, you know, if it's done in the right sense. And so yeah, I don't know. I don't really know where I was going with that, but like,
oh, that was very well put, sir.
been in here a lot lately.
Oh,
so.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I shit, yeah.
I'm
that was
telling
actually
you,
really good.
Like because I don't know how into skateboarding or like extreme sports you are.
I mean, I've been a passive viewer. That was something else that was pretty interesting to me, is how he even was saying like when it got put in the X Games, it was weird.
Yeah.
Because it's like that a lot of skateboarders don't look at it as a sport.
Mm-hmm.
It's an art form, like dancing.
Yeah.
So that was very fascinating to me, because I'd never heard anyone say that before. And it did make me go, and when I thought about it, I was like, oh yeah, how the fuck, like outside of how many tricks you do, how hard they are, and whether or not you land them, how the fuck else do you judge this?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like what, it's not, nobody's scoring points. Nobody's, I mean, I guess, I feel like, I was going to say, I guess kind of like ice skating, but I feel like that has a very specific point system, you know, in the Olympics and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, that was just it made it click in my head. I was like, and it's, yeah, I've always kind of passively been into skateboarding. I never really learned how. I liked skating better, but like still in the, you know, the swimming pools and stuff, but like the aggressive skating, that was what it was called. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I always used to love those tech decks.
Oh yeah.
I love tech decks.
Yeah.
But I also like, I never had very many, and that's where I want to go next, actually. I never had very many gaming systems growing up, so I never really played the old Tony Hawk games unless I was over at a friend's house, and when I did, I loved them. They were fun as fuck. But yeah, and we talked about that, I think, on the other episode, and it's just like, it's gonna be, I'm looking forward to playing the new one. But that was kind of a big like turning point for him, you know what I mean? When that game came out.
Yeah, dude, I was right there with it. Like I would sit and play that for hours. Like I'm not even
played
kidding.
it.
Like, yeah.
Was it on
time? Yeah.
Wasn't it only on PlayStation?
I think at first, yeah. I remember seeing it on like Nintendo 64 and stuff, and like some of those, like kind of like the same era, same generation, I guess. But I think most of, well, and I guess until, you know, because they're like I guess because there's like three different like, you know, like versions of it, I guess. Like there's the Pro Skater versions, which were mostly, you know, PlayStation and PS2. What's up?
No, go on.
Yeah, it was mostly like, you know, PlayStation, PS2, and then after, I think, because there was the Tony Hawk's Underground games, which are like really kind of, it was kind of the first time that they brought in like the the concept of like the rebellious side of skateboarding into a video game, which was cool. Like it almost like refined sort of what was happening. It was the first time where it was like, you know, you were, and I don't know, God, I could go on about these games forever. So I would spend so much time with them.
I only knew about Pro Skater, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. So, man, like Underground, there's Underground 2, and then American Wasteland, which was kind of the same sort of like, you know, kind of like bringing the underground back to skateboarding. And it was the first time where like in the game you would be this like this your character would be like coming up on things, and like you'd have to like, you know, make your way out of this certain thing. You'd have to make a tape and like film it in the first level, and then kind of like follow around these skaters to other different places and kind of like shop it to them and stuff. And like you, meanwhile, like all the customizing stuff, like all this, like that was really kind of where that all kind of came into, and it was just refined over the last few games. And those were really cool. But yeah, like to see, like when I first heard that they were like remastering it, when they were like doing a different or like a newer like full scale, like I was kind of nervous because like the other one that came out before it was so bad, like universally terrible. So I don't know, like I'm really excited about it, and I hope that it just it blows the doors open for skateboarding again. Because when I was first getting into it, like there was so much in like even now thinking about, like there was so much evolution to it. There was so much, and like, you know, when I was old enough to kind of start into it, like there was so much, because like I didn't necessarily have the best stuff. Like I guess to kind of call back to the documentary I was watching, I was telling you about, I could kind of relate to Tony Hawk in that sense, because like I was that kid. Like I was the kid that would show up at the skate park in all the pads and like have the kind of like off-brand board and try to like, you know, like I wouldn't like I didn't really know like tricks or anything like that. Like I couldn't ollie because I couldn't like, you know, figure it out and stuff. And like I couldn't wrap my, and I still like to see somebody with that much like skill just like into like see something that's underneath someone's foot spin so many times and they just land on it and just ride away from it is like, how, like, yeah. How do you do that? And it's still like, it still gets me and stuff. So
I have always had massive respect for it, and I was definitely attracted to the scene when I was real young, before I found metal. I wasn't, but if I was trying to be anything, it was a skater kid and like closer to that group, you know, that was in my area and stuff like that. But then, you know, I found metal. And I was like, "Ooh, yeah, you guys seem really cool and hard, but your music isn't."
Oh, well,
except for Green Day. I love Green Day.
See, like, and that's the other place where the Tony Hawk games come in, because that was, and I remember like you brought this up, and I was like, we could do hours on this. Like,
I actually see, because I only knew would you say that the underground ones are, would you say that their soundtracks were as impactful as the Pro Skater ones? Because I was under the impression it was like the first few Pro Skater ones that were really like, because so like, yeah, like for me growing up, at least, like the first time I saw a game have influence over what kind of music people were getting into was Guitar Hero. And that was obviously, it was gigantic and it was entirely based around music, but Tony Hawk wasn't. It's obviously a skateboarding game. So looking back then, you know, thinking about all this in the last few days and like looking back, it was like, holy shit, those Tony Hawk soundtracks were fucking huge. Like those things had giant impacts on what people were. It's almost like it was almost like it was providing a soundtrack for the scene. itself,
Yeah,
which
I
is
would.
fucking insane, and
I,
reaching an even wider audience.
I would agree with that. I would. I like. I'm gonna send you this so you can kind of look at it. This was the first game.
I have all the first 4 Pro Skater soundtrack lists in front of me.
Okay, now this is the first Underground. They made 2 of them, and then American Wasteland was kind of its own thing. But to kind of answer your question, I feel like it depends on when you got into it, really. Like there were, I mean, I guess to kind of back up, like I was first definitely like, because the first game had Primus on it, which is a weird thing to remember. Because I remember it being such a weird song.
Jerry was a race car.
Yeah. But there was that. The reason I'm talking about it is I don't know, and I don't know how long it's been. I don't know if you've even really heard the song before. Nope. But I
do like Primus though.
Yeah, they're interesting. They're a weird ass like. I wouldn't even call them like a metal band, really. They're just a weird amalgamation of just genres, just sounds.
Like punk, rock, heavy, alternative,
Let me pull up so I can kind of look at what you're looking at. But I like to kind of go back, like to me, I don't know if when I was into the first few games that I was necessarily conscious of what type of music was happening. Like I don't, I definitely, I mean, now looking back at it, like, yeah, it's a huge impact, and it was probably the reason why I got into a lot of the heavier stuff. But at the time, like, it was just the background. Like it was just the thing that was going on in the background that was like, oh, this song is cool or whatever. And it wasn't really until I got to like the Underground games or until I got to like, the like some of the later ones that I was like, and especially I remember having this like, I guess the kind of like it brings it sort of full circle, but I remember having the soundtrack to the second game on CD. And it had, CD. Like they used to put out like full soundtracks for games and stuff. And I remember maybe it was Engine Number 9 by Deftones.
Okay.
That was on it. That was the first time I heard Deftones.
Wow.
That was the first time I remember the second game had Papa Roach on it.
Yep.
It was the first time I heard them. Let me pull this up real quick.
The second game.
Is there
real quick?
Is there like a wiki for all this, or is it like
what? No, actually, if you just Google Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, whatever number you want, album songs, then literally it'll be right up in Google. Like Google will just tell you.
Okay.
But this one's got Anthrax on it.
Yeah, that's right. The second game, like one of the first levels that you get to, like the first song that you hear is "Bring the Noise."
Bring the Noise, yeah.
Yeah,
and it's got fucking Rage.
Yeah, dude. Like, and that's the other thing. Like, as soon like the opening cinematic of it was Guerrilla Radio.
Yeah.
Dude.
Oh,
that's why that's
hard.
Yeah, that song stuck with me so much, and like every time I heard it, I was like yes, like
it's my shit.
Yeah.
Naughty by Nature, Power Man 5000.
Yeah, dude.
Lencoin. Some of these I've never even heard of.
Yeah.
Lagwagon, Fu Manchu.
That I'm not gonna lie.
Bad Religion.
There's probably some songs on there that like unless I hear it, I couldn't tell you what the song is. But as soon as I hear it, I'm like, oh yeah. That's right. Yeah.
That's pretty fucking wild.
Everybody who's anybody knows Superman by Goldfinger.
And this is the other thing is this track list is very like it's eclectic, like it's all over the place, you know what I mean? Like it's got metal, it's got punk, it's got rock, it's got it's got all rap, it's got fucking a lot of varying stuff. And it's not I would not call all of it mainstream by any stretch of the imagination, even back then, probably. Until this shit came out, then maybe it got more mainstream. But
Yeah.
and definitely the second one definitely seemed there are more songs I know on the second one, put it that way.
Yeah. Well, because the first game, and that was always something that was cool about it, was I always felt like whoever put this together, it was made with like skating in mind. It was
Yes.
made with the attitude, and it was made by somebody that got it. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't just like random songs that were put together like this, like, and even like just any of them, you know, you could pick out, and it was like, and that was kind of why that soundtrack was so cool to me, because it was one of the first, and I haven't thought about this in years. Like this, only one of the first times I'm actually going back to this, but like it was kind of one of the first soundtracks that I got into where it was like, you know, it was like it kind of fueled what I was into at the time.
Uh-huh.
And it was also, you know, like it encapsulated the entire idea of what I thought skateboarding was, and what I thought like the whole attitude of it was and everything. And that's kind of, you know, it didn't necessarily like until much later, like until a lot later. It wasn't until then that I realized how much of an impact it had on me, like musically, or like, you know, because it was one of the first times that I was hearing any of this stuff, and like I had exposure to it, because I mean, this was before, you know, basically like just short of like being like before downloading, before the internet, before
Yeah.
Maybe not before the internet, but probably somewhere early.
But it was, I mean, I would say it was either right before or when like LimeWire started happening, kind of a thing.
That makes sense. And so like I feel like in that regard, and because there was kind of more of those than there were the Underground series or anything else, I feel like those, like the Pro Skater games, definitely had a bit more of an impact on me than any of the other ones. But a lot of the other ones too, like, I mean, all of these came out when I was just getting into music, like when I was just, and I didn't even really know what I liked, and that was the cool part about it. Like even like playing the first game or the second one or whatever, like there was just songs, like just it was like, oh, like this is cool, I like this, you know. It was kind of, but it wasn't until later when I was like kind of calling back to it, and was like, oh yeah, like that's, you know. And now every time I hear it, I'm just like, it takes me back, man. Like,
fuck yeah.
Which is why when they first announced that, I was like, dude, I hope this is good. Like, I sincerely hope this is, you know, kind of like it's a big resurgence for skateboarding and for just, you know, this kind of style in general, because for one, it's cool. Like, it's always been cool to me, whether it's, you know, I mean, you know, it's just fun to watch for me. I still enjoy watching it or whatever. And until recently, I've really been just thinking about, like, you know, getting back into it and like trying to get in, you know, because when I was, to kind of go back to what I was talking about earlier, like I was, you know, wasn't the biggest kid ever. Like I was pretty scrawny. Like I was, you know, I didn't have a whole lot of muscle. Like I wasn't really, I mean, I was tall, which I guess gave me the advantage. But you know, I was that kid, you know, and at the time, like I didn't really understand it. Like I'd watched the X Games, I'd watched, you know, I'd played the video games and stuff, but beyond that, like I wasn't really, like I didn't know how to make sense of what was happening, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of, and you know, alongside of that, like I just got more into music, I got more into playing drums and stuff, and I kind of, like, it all kind of fell to the wayside. And because I was under the impression that like it was just this dangerous thing and it is, like, it's, you know, it's pretty reckless. Like you gotta have some kind of like something up in your brain that allows you to kind of like set yourself aside long enough to like do this crazy shit.
Yeah.
And that's anything with action sports. But like, you know, so it's kind of, you know, kind of seeing this and kind of thinking about all this and being into it for so long has kind of got me thinking, like, you know, I understand it a little bit more, Like there's definitely, I mean, I don't mean to make this whole episode about skating,
No, go.
but it's, I don't know, it's something I've been watching a lot lately. You know, there's definitely like different elements to it. You know, like there's the big, like, you know, extreme side of it where it's like, you know, kickers and gigantic mega ramps and just crazy like stuff that could kill you. And then there's the other side of it where it's like street skating, where it's like, you know, off of like handrails and doing all this other stuff. And then there's the other side of it where it's like park skating, where it's, you know, there's like, you know, like mostly like, you know, bowls and like other stuff that, you know, there's so many elements to it that and it kind of goes back to music, to metal. Like there's so much to it if you look into it. Like there is the main side of it that's, you know, aggressive and that's heavy and that's, you know, but there's also, you know, if you look into it, you can find stuff that's like, you know, it's like, oh, well, I could do that. Like I could, you know, I'm not the best at it, but I could, you know, figure it out and stuff. I could enjoy it for what it is and for, you know, my abilities and stuff. And
yeah.
So I don't know. There's definitely a lot of similarities to it, which is kind of why I feel like it's stuck with me for so long.
Absolutely. And dude, I was fucking. That's the other crazy part is there was supposed to be skateboarding in the Olympics this summer, but now it's been moved to next summer. Yep. But dude, do you see this fucking the fourth one's soundtrack?
Let me see,
dude.
Actually, real quick, I'm gonna grab a drink. Some more drink.
All right.
You're right back.
Go for it. I'll talk about something else real quick. Wow. I'll wait till he gets back to talk about this soundtrack because this is crazy. Like it's really just, it's crazy to me that this game is kind of I mean, in some parts at least, probably. I'm sure there was something to where you're like, oh yeah, if we got on a Tony soundtrack or Tony Hawk soundtrack, you know, that moves the needle a little bit for us. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. I don't know. It's really fucking interesting to me. It's really interesting to me, all this stuff. And I haven't seen that Bones Brigade documentary that Aaron has been talking about, but I'm definitely going to fucking watch that at the earliest possible time. It's all on YouTube. It's on, you can get it on YouTube. So it's like I think it's just under 2 hours maybe. I looked at it earlier for a second, but yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that. And because I feel like when I was younger, I spent a lot of time at skate parks and like went to, you know, we had an outdoor and an indoor skate park way back in the day nearby here. And I think the outdoor one is still there, but the indoor one's gone. But it was, yeah, I haven't thought about those times in so fucking long that I feel like watching this documentary might bring me back to it a little bit. So I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, you should definitely check out the if you're a fan, you know, you should definitely check out the Hawk episode with Rogan on Rogan. It was fan-fucking-tastic. Really, really cool to see. And hear him talk about so many things that I had no fucking idea about, like how young he was when he started, how like his road, his fucking, just his whole fucking journey. You could easily make a big documentary just like they did with Jordan about fucking Tony Hawk.
I hope you do.
Yeah.
Someday.
I think that would be awesome. But yeah, so dude, on the fourth one is huge. So I don't know if they ever put this. I don't know if they would have ever put this out on CD. There's fucking AC/DC on it. The Cult, fucking. I'm just gonna read the ones I know: Flogging Molly, Goldfinger, Iron Maiden, fucking. Let's see. There's more. NWA, The Offspring, Public Enemy. Run DMC, Sex Pistols, System of a Down. Yeah. And a lot more. But those are the main ones I know. I was like, damn. Got Number of the fucking Beast on there?
Yeah.
That is awesome. You know what does kind of surprise me is there's no Motorhead on any of them.
Like,
I feel like that'd be a good one.
I I think that made its way onto one of the underground games because I remember hearing that.
I was gonna say the underground one is giant too, and it's got like Kiss. It's got a lot of metal like that. So maybe, yeah, I could totally see it being on one of these ones for sure.
It's like the thing that's cool about the underground games is that like it took the mechanics and like the overall idea of the pro skater games, but it put it in a way that was just different, and it was a little more like raw and kind of more like, about like the street skating aspect of things. And I feel like that, like the soundtrack definitely encapsulated that because it was a little heavier, it was a little more aggressive, like it was, it had a little bit just more to offer in terms of like, hip hop music and just other things, but also like punk music. And that's kind of really, I guess to kind of go back to the pro skater games, like that's really kind of where the punk side of my interest came in, because that was a lot of what was on there. And I was like, dude, this is cool. Like this, it's just, cool, like faster music. So
yeah, fuck yeah. That's awesome.
I need to either find or buy a PS2 and just like do nothing but like sit and play these games. Like it was such a gigantic part for me.
Well, the next PlayStation is going to be totally backwards compatible. So
yeah,
let's get that and then play them all. That's crazy. Wow. Really interesting, man. This stuff, I'm really looking forward to watching that documentary.
Yeah. It's I mean, man, like, and I kind of made the same realization about it as you did when I was watching that one. Is like, man, like, it's like I said, it's like it's very DIY, like it's very, it's kind of against everything, like it's very it's a rebellious side of things, but it's also very like, thought out and smart and like meticulous, and like there's you can go the route of the the craziness and the the just destructive side of it, or you can just enjoy it for really what it is and stuff. And but it all I feel like it's changed a lot as well, and I feel like with the games and with the like just the whole culture of it, I just it's definitely gone through its phases of just to get to what it is now. So
oh yeah.
And really for the record, I'm excited that in 2020 we are having a conversation about a remastered remake of the first two Tony Hawk games. Like,
that's so sick.
Yeah,
I mean, it means it's still there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's still there. People still want it.
I mean, we've had the skate games, and they've those are even like, I mean, it is different. It wasn't exactly nothing's really gonna touch the just the idea or like the the premise of the first couple of them, but just to have those extra ones and have it kind of like push it forward was cool. But I think for a long time people have been asking about this, and I think so too. So it's gonna be sick, dude. I'm gonna play these ones for sure. But honestly, man, to be totally honest, that's kind of all I had to talk about tonight. Yeah. I just really wanted to, because we touched on to the Tony Hawk thing last time, and like then he was on Rogan, and like I was like, damn it, why didn't we bring up the soundtracks? Because that's what we were talking about. One of the things we were talking about. So I wanted to talk about that stuff with you. I thought it'd be fun. I should have watched that fucking documentary though. I'm glad you reminded me of that, because now I'm going to for sure. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's like I said, it's a little weird towards the end of it because of the way that it ends and stuff, and it like, I don't know, it kind of like, it almost seemed like they didn't really know quite where to take it. Which I mean, but that's no less of a reason to kind of check it out if you have any real like just interest in just skateboarding in general. Like, it's just cool to kind of see where it all came from, and that's as close of a documentary as I could find on it. So,
okay.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome. I'm definitely watching that.
There is two things though
What?
that we talked about. Well, just briefly brought up. And they happened like a day, like between like a couple days. The first one was, what was it? Let me see. I sent you this. So Sunday was the 10th anniversary of the passing of Paul Gray from
Oh
Slipknot,
yeah,
original
yeah.
bassist. And then subsequently, today is the 16-year anniversary of Volume 3, which is
It's fucking mind-boggling.
yeah, like changed my entire outlook on it. Like this,
Thing's almost fucking 20 years. It can drive.
yeah.
Fuck.
It at least has its permit. Like, but yeah, man, like those, and it what
Big
like,
ones.
'cause
Those are big ones.
yeah, I was, I guess to kind of go with the first thing, kind of move into it. Like I remember exactly like where I was when, like, it was one of those events where, like, I remember what was happening, where I was like when I found out about it and stuff, and just how much of like, and it was kind of, for the first time, it was kind of when I had that like weird, because when a fame, or when somebody that's like that you don't know but is like, idol, I guess, well, idolized for lack of a better term, is just kind of like seen as somebody who's like significant to what you're into, and kind of somebody that you are inspired by, whether it be like musically or just like in the same band or whatever. Like it's you hear all the time, like, you feel like you kind of know that person, like you feel like you kind of, and that was kind of one of those, like, one of the first moments where I was like, man, like, this, like, I just feel it, like I just felt it. And it was even more so kind of after watching because they did, like, I don't know if it was like the day of or like a couple days after, but they all did like a press conference about it, and it was a live thing, and they were all sitting at the table and stuff and talking about it. And that, man, like, to this day, that's hard to watch. Like, there's still
crazy.
Yeah, like there's still, I mean, you can still find it. It's still online.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it was live streamed at the time, and just to see it is, and then to kind of weigh that with, everything else that kind of followed after that, how much rebuilding they had to do, how much, how many, and since then they've lost, two, well, for not necessarily like passing away, but they've, had to replace two other members and stuff, and and then to kind of to see that, and then the next day, which I didn't know about, honestly, like I didn't know that they fell so like close together, the release of those two. I don't know, it kind of like brought me back a little bit,
Yeah, I bet. I saw that morning too, and I was like, I don't want to send this to him because I don't want to ruin his day.
Yeah.
I don't want to bring it down.
Yeah. Oh, like I said, I saw it because I made posts about it and stuff. I didn't this year. Just, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm kind of like,
It's been a while.
Yeah. Not that it's any less sad.
No.
But it's just, I don't know. You just respect for the dead kind of thing. That, and like how much more could I say other than what's been said already?
Yeah.
But like, what, I don't know. I didn't realize it had been 10 years already.
Yeah. Neither did I. It feels, wow. That's insane.
But, and then, to kind of go into the Volume 3 thing, like that was, I can't really explain how much of an impact that record had on me. Like Iowa came after for me. Like when you ask me like what my favorite, like I'll immediately either say Iowa or Volume 3. Like those are always the two. And up until recently, We Are Not Your Kind, just because it's the best album they've released in, the last couple.
Since Volume 3.
Yeah. Well, debatable, I would say. Like every album has its strong points, but that was definitely the one that, because I remember seeing the video for Duality, You know, I remember seeing like
I remember that.
Yeah, like it,
I remember that came out.
Seeing the faces and just like how it was all put together and like how it like it started with everybody running in at these like these houses and stuff and just seeing like the chaos of it. And like there was that moment where it's, I mean, you know, if you've seen the video, you know what I'm talking about. Like there's that before like the big like drum break, like cadence sort of thing. Like everybody's just kind of standing there.
Yeah.
Stops and then it comes back in for the last chorus and stuff. And you just see like everybody just like moving and stuff. And like, that was kind of the, like, I just saw that and I was like, dude, like, that is awesome. Like, that is, you know, and
that video was the shit.
Yeah. But it, like, they were, it's kind of funny too, because they were one of the, like, the earlier bands that, you know, because, like, getting into, like, metal from an early age, like, it was, like, I wasn't really allowed to listen to certain bands. Just weird to talk about now. I wasn't allowed to, I guess, like listen to, you know, bands like Slipknot or band, you know, just because it was, you know, for one reason or like it was just, you know, it was just like that. It was just that thing, you know. I'm sure
parental advisory.
Yeah. And that went on for a long time, and so it wasn't until after a few years that it had been out. You know, once Duality kind of circulated, once I saw, what was it? It was either saw or heard Blister Exists, which had that drum break in it, which I was obsessed with forever. Like I put that, I remember playing like solos, like drum solos in school and putting that fucking cadence in every solo I ever did, just because I thought it was cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so like that, just to see that is like surprisingly aged.
Yeah,
is crazy to me, but also that I kind of like it still holds up, like it's still, you know, and especially knowing what I know about it now, you know, the fact that they recorded all at the Houdini Mansion, there was all this crazy stuff happening, like it just. Like it's a record that's aged like a fine wine to me. like it just like it was great when I first heard it, and it's like knowing and just hearing all of it and like, you know, having like prior knowledge of what was happening at the time and stuff. Like it just like it, I don't know, like it has that entire energy to it, and that's probably why it's stuck with me for so long. It's just like it was the first thing that I remember hearing that was like, wow, like this is just chaos, like but it was, I don't know, so anyway, yeah.
That's fucking awesome, man. That's you know, I've talked, you know, that album is definitely my like first, it's the first Slipknot album I bought too. And just see it pretty much yeah, like you said, up until recently with the new one, it's always been my favorite. What though?
I was just gonna say, like, and like one of the first things I remember about it is Volume 3 specifically is trying to figure out what the cover was.
Yeah.
like for a while I was like, what is that? Like what, you know, and like I still kind of, you know, like it's, I mean, obviously this is a big zipper, like whatever, it's like a zipper over somebody's face, and like I like after seeing, I don't know if I have it here, but after like I finally I was like few years ago, actually, like when I was really into buying like physical copies of stuff, I was like, I don't have a copy of this, and it's wrong to me. Like, just so I went and bought it, and I opened it up, and there was that. I mean, I don't know if, well, yeah, you have a copy of it. There's that inside picture that's so much cooler than the one that ended up on the cover. And I was like, dude, like, oh, man, that's like, so, but yeah, just I don't know. I just remember seeing that cover, being like, wow, that's weird looking. Like it's a face, but it's not, and it's what it is, and it's like it's made up of like 4 different things, but it's like a mouth of this mask, and it's like, what is that? Like, so
it's fucking crazy.
Yeah. So I don't know. That was just 2 things that you brought up that were just pretty significant to me within the last couple of days. So.
Oh yeah, man. I'm glad you did, because yeah. That is kind of big. 10 or 16 years old. That album. That's fucking insane. Probably about the same as Ashes, right?
Um,
Ashes was like 04, I think. 04, 05.
was it?
Yeah,
Yeah. That. Yeah. Let me see.
roughly. I don't know what time of year, like day or month it came out though. That's probably. God damn it. God damn it. Ooh, we're getting close to a new Lamb of God album, Aaron. We're getting
Yeah.
real close.
Like if I'm. Oh yeah, August 30th, 2004.
So it'll be 16 in August. Yeah.
So yeah, so that's another one this year. That.
Yep. Holy shit.
But yeah, as far as like anticipated albums for me this year, like it's probably number one. Like,
Yep.
Last year it was Slipknot. This year it's Lamb of God. Like.
Yep. Not bad.
Yeah.
Not to mention all the others that we have coming that are going to be fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to this new Carnifex track on Friday.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be sweet. But yeah, man. You got anything else for tonight? Any band news? Anything?
Other than what I've what I've kind of covered the last few weeks,
For sure.
We've been talking about getting back together. We've been talking about how we're gonna do it because none of us really know right now. We're definitely still like the plan, like the gears are turning right now. We're talking about it. We were going to today actually, kind of reconvene and sort of get back to it. I don't know if when we do the first few times, if we're gonna stream it, we might just it might just be like a
practice.
Yeah, because I mean, kind of to kind of tie in with what we were saying earlier, like you don't really want to be
dust the webs off.
Yeah. Like there's definitely been that push, for we're all getting pretty antsy about it. Like we all want to get back to it, but it's a time and a place thing, and much with podcasts, much with anything really. Like you want to make sure that it's the right chance, it's the right time for everything, and you certainly don't want to be lumped in with any kind of weird like group like that's happening right now to kind of keep it light. So, but we there's kind of get back out, like we've definitely talked about it. We were going to today, but it's just it's really a matter of just really a matter of time and when it makes the most sense, and when we feel like we can do it where it's not going to be looked at as like really, like what I mean, like that kind of thing. I know that Recorruptor did it today, or we're back in between yesterday and today.
Practice, yeah,
which is awesome.
We're currently we're allowed to have gatherings of 10 people or less. Yeah. So
Yeah. Well, and there's a few of us that are. Yeah, there's a few of us that are slowly kind of getting back to work. I know Mike has been back at it for a little while.
Oh yeah.
I know. I think Alex I know he was still getting scheduled. I know he was still working, but as far as like the mall getting like opening or closing, I'm not really sure what all the deal is with it. So, yeah, we're definitely getting like all right, like
time to go.
Yeah, and every time that we talk about like, oh, let's Monday, like that was kind of like set in stone or whatever, and then the next day it's extended till July. It's so we're trying to like this whole time we've just been trying to just follow the rules and just kind of whether it sucks for everybody, and we don't want to kind of get back into it before it's considered like to be you want to
go back, you want to go back the right way.
I wish I had more to say. I know I've been trying to keep busy with video stuff. I kind of definitely took a bit more of a step forward today with that. trying to figure out how to do it more efficiently. And you know, I've told you about a few cover songs, a few songs that I've been thinking about putting videos to, which, you know, it's
sweet.
Sweet
ones.
It's just hitting the gas pedal. Like it's just doing it. That's been like, man, like it's been tough. Like, you know.
Yeah.
So.
I feel you, but hopefully, I don't know. But yeah, you did take a pretty big step forward today. That's for sure.
Yeah.
There's definitely there's some things coming now that are going to be sick. But hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Well, yeah, that's fucking pretty much all I got for this one.
Yeah.
So
support local music.
Yeah, as always, that's how we end the show. Support local music, support bands like Bog Wraith, Recorruptor, A Fitting Revenge, and A Suffocating Lie. All bands that have reached out to us in some form or another. All fucking amazing. All fucking bands need help right now. So hop on Bandcamp, seek out your local bands and stream that shit. Fucking get some merch, get a physical copy of a CD, whatever. Help them out. It's fucking because like there is some scary possibilities right now when it comes to a lot of the music that you love, and that it might not be around after all this is over. So yeah, now's the time to support more than ever, and that's what we always say on this show. So fuck yeah.
I had just based off of what you said, I had something else I wanted to go into, but we can end it.
What was it? What was it?
To kind of go with what you were saying, like I posted this article about to you about Lizzie Hale, about something that she said. There was a big article about her.
I think like that's it. She said a lot of bands might not make it through this. Yeah. Yeah,
basically, yeah. In a nutshell, kind of what you said and stuff. And it kind of like it struck me because it like, I mean, there have been musicians and been artists that have said similar stuff, but nobody that's really put it in that sense. Yeah. And that was kind of like the first time I really thought about it as like.
It's not even that. It's like the venues. I'm worried about the venues.
Nope.
It's all of it. It's the whole thing, top to bottom. Even we've already had a delay, an indefinite delay in Hatebreed and a delay in the Lamb of God album because of the pressing plants. You know what I mean? So, yeah, like it's definitely every aspect of it.
Yeah, that was something I didn't think about either until the Lamb of God thing. Because it was either, I don't remember which happened first, the Lamb of God or the Hatebreed.
It was like same time, pretty much.
Yeah, but it was for about the same reasons, and that was something I never thought about. Was what it actually takes to get something like a physical copy or a shirt or something to you, like to somebody.
Yeah,
and it like I mean we send stuff out quite a bit, as far as like orders and stuff, but it wasn't like I didn't really think about it in the sense of like, there's full production, like plants and like places that are responsible for, making this stuff or pushing it out and everything. And the fact that, like factory workers and just things are happening to kind of enable that from going on was, to see that and to kind of have it be put in that perspective is like, wow, for major labels, that's huge. Like that's, I mean, I feel like for smaller bands, it's a little bit different because you don't have to go through as much, like run around. You don't have to really like, I mean, there's pressing things, you still got to pay for all your merch and stuff, but as long as the post office is open, as long as, I mean, we've sent stuff out during this time. And I guess to anybody that has received anything, like I've seen, like they post pictures of it, it's awesome to see that it's actually getting to them. And I feel like that's kind of something that is weird to kind of think about because it's, it's two different sides. like, you know, we're still like the smaller bands, like the smaller local bands are still struggling, but we're still finding a way to to get our, you know, to get our stuff out to people, whether it be merch or, you know, music or what have you. But I feel like a lot of the bigger bands, a lot of like the labels, a lot of, you know, these bigger, well-known like names, like, you know, that are responsible for a lot of what's happening, whether it be, you know, processing or merchandise or anything like that. Like, it's, I mean, where do you go when you can't press anything because the plant's, you know, closed?
Right. Exactly.
So yeah.
It's crazy that it's hitting aspects of this that we don't normally think about as much as we should, probably.
Yeah.
It's
not really until it hits you that you know how significant it is.
Right.
And that's sorry.
No, it's fine. It's just fucking, yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's fucking crazy, but you know, it seems like they're, you know, unless everything gets delayed again, which who knows, but it seems like, you know, if Devil Driver is announcing an October release date, you know what I mean? Like it seems like they know that at least some of that stuff is going to might be able to come back sooner than later. I don't know. I don't know.
Seems it like, I mean, obviously when all this was first happening, there was just a widespread panic about it. Yeah. And I feel like to a degree there still is, depending on what you're paying attention to. But like, you know, it's kind of that sort of thing. Like, you know, I didn't really realize how much it was going to impact me when it first happened until it was all kind of right there. Like, it wasn't until they started shutting venues down and canceling stuff and
which happened quick.
Yeah, very fast. Like, it was one of the first things that happened.
Yeah.
And as first thing to happen, it's probably going to be one of the last things, unfortunately, that's going to come back to it.
Yep.
So it just, you know, you kind of saw what happened the first little bit of time with all of it, and I mean, since then, you know, month, I don't know. I've been paying attention to like how long it's been specifically. I try not to.
No one knows what day it is, bro.
Yeah, for my own sake and sanity. But yeah, just to kind of see the impacts of it and to kind of realize, like, you know, there's definitely things that we could do about it, and I feel like the more time kind of goes on, the more that we kind of adapt to what's happening, I feel like it'll turn into a positive. It'll be weird for a while because nobody's seen anything like this before, and to try to picture going to like a sold out show or somewhere like an outdoor event, or just even like going to the store with just various, you know, just a lot of people around is
right.
Like, you know, you kind of adapt, but it's weird, but yeah, but it's not so weird now because you know, I mean, it is, but like, you know, because you're used to it, like you've seen it for a little bit, like you know what I mean, like you to a degree, like it's still, I'm not gonna lie, like it's definitely not any less weird, but it's a little bit easier to handle, I guess.
Okay, I guess that's okay.
To kind of put it in that sense, yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like.
But yeah, no. I mean, yeah, you're right. You're right. It's not. It's gonna be a process.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a process, I think.
Well,
I don't know.
I feel like, you know, it's something that we gotta just adapt to. You know, I mean, you think about all the changes that have happened in just the last like 10, 20 years, even the last 5 years, really. Like, we just like, there's crazy shit that happens, and it's like, all right, well, you know, and just adapt to it. Like, you just, you know,
we are very adaptable creatures. That's very true.
Yeah,
that is very, very true.
You know, like we haven't. Well, I don't know. Anyway, yeah. Not to take this on too long, but yeah. Just I guess the moral is just support local, you know, support your friends.
It's hitting everywhere. Support local, support your friends. Find some new amazing music to listen to if you're in a quarantine shelter house situation or whatever.
Play it irresponsibly loud for everybody.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, shit, if you're in Michigan right now, at least in mid-Michigan, I think it's supposed to rain for like the next fucking week. So plenty of time to chill and just blast some shit. So yeah. Try to end this on a positive note. Fucking we got a lot. We got some pretty fucking cool shit lined up here in the next few weeks for the podcast. But I did want to say, how would you feel if we did a next episode about we haven't done a paranormal episode in a long time. I want to do a paranormal episode.
Yeah.
You down?
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah. I've got some ideas written down already.
I need more of that in my life.
Hell yeah.
I'm discovering recently.
Well, maybe we'll get back on here later this week and crank that one out or something. But anyway, yeah, that's I guess that's gonna do it for this episode. Thank you, Aaron. That was actually awesome because I did not know you had that relationship with skating in the past and stuff. So that was actually cool to hear about. Cool as fuck, actually. I'm definitely checking out that documentary again. It's called Bones Brigade and it's on YouTube. And again, be sure to follow Bog Ray 3 Corruptor, A Suffocating Lion, A Fitting Revenge, all on YouTube, Bandcamp, fucking Instagram, Facebook, everything. And go to Bandcamp, pick up a physical copy. That's Titan right there.
That's Omen, bro.
Oh, Omen. Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding.
And what was the fucking Flesh for Flesh? You got that new video out, Flesh for Flesh. It came out just a couple months back.
Yeah. That we got Tighten Up. It's all like any physical copies of anything. I don't ship things. That's Alex's department, so I'm not sure like what the count is on everything. But as far as I know, we have physical copies of everything that's listed on our site. We've got, I think, just a 2X logo shirt left.
Ooh.
So if you're in the market for that, we've also got a lot of the pig shirts. We got a lot of hats left because we didn't really sell those. I know you ordered one.
Yeah.
So yeah, just we got a bunch of stuff. So just it'd be cool to support.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, man. Fuck yeah. And we all look forward to seeing another stream or something sometime soon. That'd be really awesome.
I know. I'm jonesing, man.
Oh, I know.
We all are. Every time when it sucks because as we're talking about it, we found out about the extension and it just kind of sucked the air out of the room, chat a little bit. It's fuck, we're right there with everything and just so. But we'll be back to it, and I guarantee once we do, and speaking personally, not to drag this out any longer, but speaking personally, it's kind of brought a newfound approach to just everything for me, really. Through doing this and through just trying to stay motivated and inspired through all this has been kind of a struggle. And so just to have this to come to and have the band still be interested in and motivated and continuing past this and trying to figure out how to do it is really just, especially within the last week, has really just made me excited about just going forward and trying to work through this all, because that's really what it is how do we continue to keep doing what we're doing and keep doing what we enjoy in this kind of time. So
right. Absolutely.
It's kind of put a new fire in me. So I guarantee once we come back, it's going to be,
a raging inferno.
Oh yeah. So
fuck yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Lost in the Dark podcast, everyone. Thank you so fucking much. Cheers. Cheers to you and everyone watching.
Oh yeah.
Thank you everyone so much for watching from the absolute bottom of our hearts. Support your local music And we will be back again very soon with all kinds of fun stuff. We're going to talk about some things that go bump in the night. Thank you all. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll be back again very soon. And don't forget to raise your fucking horns. Bang your goddamn heads. We love you all to death. Good night.